We've been to the short tracks, we've been to the intermediates, and it's time for a return to the super speedways here on the Friday Night Lights series as we take our first trip to Talladega Super Speedway, probably the biggest and scariest of them all on the championship. But it's always quite a thrill ride when these cars end up here, and you never quite know how it's going to end until the very end. Howie Burrows alongside Ron Mons here, Kirk Mills having his last race on the track of the season.
To the restart zone, let's go racing, boys!
On the main field, we are getting a little bit rowdy. Benefield's taken the point here. Devin Medeiros given a chase. I think the two move well up to that upper line. Heavy pushes from Medeiros. It's going to bring him to the line. Tries to jump to the top. There's good momentum there. He could drag race it. It's Benefield's.
So Adam Benefield getting the stage win. That's going to help him out when it comes to the points. These drivers having to savor those stage points throughout the season. And after that big setback that he had after being suspended from the championship points lead, still holding on to P3 in the points, looking to bounce back. And results like that, either at the end of these stages or certainly at the end of the race, will help out his case quite a lot.
Just like that, there's your grains, or jump from Medeiros actually. Bit of separation on that bottom line. That 14's also disconnected from Dyson behind. That top stayed a lot more connected, and that's really going to make the difference, I think. There's space for a car to jump down in theory if Drew Poole up on the top can actually sort of get clear in time. He's about a quarter panel too far forward. That gap's going to close. A little bit of a gap being left down there by Wineland. I don't want Medeiros could take advantage of that, and I don't want him to send it really badly and force him up the track. That could be how an incident gets started. Jacob Simpson, dominator of that first stage. You can barely just see him on the top line there. He's the solo car up top. Dropping quite badly, and top lane there's actually moving quite fast right now. I think Benefield seems to be like he does seem to be struggling just a little to hold on in some of these turns. Okay, he says he's back. There's a lot of unsteady pushes, though, through these turns. Out of all of the stock cars, we're yellow best. Wrecking off the back. Couple cars collected, all that 53 clobbered as well.
Yeah, unfortunate there are more drivers piling in there. Steve Benjamin was settled down at the back of the pack, just trying to keep it clean, but unfortunately, it's a chaos going on right in front of him. You can see that stacking up there, yeah. Lots of other drivers getting caught up in that, not necessarily smacking the wall, but some pretty significant damage there. I saw one car with a concave back bumper. That is very rarely seen in captivity.
So yeah, it all started with a big checkup around that 71, and the top lane does it too, and then it's a little bit like bowling in the back. And that's a car getting hooked out of nowhere. Some damage dealt, and our first caution for cause in the race. Let's take that long run into the restart zone. And that will be the green flag, led by Drew Poole, who does decide to jump the field and go up top or bottom, or not really sure where he's going actually.
Well, he's going somewhere, that's for sure. Drew Poole, yeah, I say that, he's not really going anywhere. The field's stacking up right behind him. The 5 trying to push him along, get something rolling at there, just poking the bear with the stick, hoping the bear doesn't bite your face off. At the moment, though, Drew Poole winning out in that face-off with the bottom lane. He's been able to get the momentum rolling now. Bryce Reiner right behind Cliff Mullins in that 44 machine, looking to bounce back after a somewhat rough go of things last time out in Kansas.
That top hasn't quite worked yet, and who else to try it again but Simpson? Always followed by McQuarter. The two have just been persistently trying to dive up there. This time there's more give to it though, I think. The run's not bad, but the problem is there's no support. More cars back, and this bottom's been getting faster. I would count on Adam Benefield to try and make this move sooner rather than later. With the laps winding down, this would be a repeat of what happened last time, and we're not going to look at the back of the field this time around. Mullins a little bit off the bottom, and that settles him. Benefield's committed now. Not quite the white on the stage, but you'd like to be leading into the white on the stage. Wineland joins. That top, more and more cars joining. They're not moving very well, though. That's Benefield ducked out in first. He's going to try and now lead this pack to the green and white checkered. One more to go on the stage when they cross the line. It's actually left Wineland out to dry now. To pick Mullins he has to rely on. Don't know if Wineland will be able to make the move himself.
Yeah, so Wineland, who's had a somewhat bitter run throughout this campaign, not the set of results that he was looking for at the moment. I think he senses a fantastic opportunity to right the wrongs that have been made so far this season for a driver who's just barely clinging onto a chase spot. Help assure that just a little bit more as they head their way down the back stretch in this second stage for the last time.
3 wide to the line. Wineland moves up and makes the dive to the bottom. Benefield doesn't quite have the support though, because up on the top, Pearl wants to do it himself. This is going to deny him that chance. He's being supported by Reiner on the top. And I think that bottom actually might have it. It's going to be close. I do think it's Pearl's.
Yeah, I think Pearl got it just barely there. Yeah, I think he got there. I think it was probably by a bumper, maybe a little bit more, but that's a fantastic haul of points for him. And Eric Wineland certainly gave him something to worry about there as a yellow flag came out and the green and white checkers fell. Yeah, no side really having a clear advantage, just side by side throughout the pack. Everybody keeping it clean and smooth. Nobody throwing haymakers at each other, which is understandable. We're just now getting the momentum back rolling in these cars.
This is our way of passing time to tell you that we're still too wide in much the same way that we have been for a while. Adam Benefield has definitely chosen
turning left and going fast.
Like, Adam Benefield has had the choice between Bryce Reiner and Jacob Simpson. He's sort of ducked between the two choices. He's committed to it. We have a yellow. And it also isn't another massive one, so I'm trying to work out where. That's Daniel Wiles. That's our first sign that something went wrong.
Yeah, the first bit of debris spotted by the crash test investigators.
Whoa!
Very slow. And that's pretty much just like a Noon's cradle there, and Wiles sliding his way off into the infield. Thankfully, avoids any contact with the barrier. Is that driver with a blown motor there?
I think there's a blown motor on pit road because Dustin Hall hasn't repaired it. Anyway, there's the Newton's cradle effect that's led to that sort of the checkup leading to bumps from both front and behind, and it's hard to control. Oh, the 76.
Oh! The only thing I've ever really heard him beat himself up over is in road course skills, but he won the Roval last year, so still a very good driver. Of course, not going to be running at the Roval this year, so you can scratch that, but still, I think a very competitive driver. He's going to look to try and grab that win. You know that he wants it, but he just got sent back there. Wesley Napier actually pushing out to the front.
We have a wreck in the back. And that answers the field question forever and stops me from getting embarrassed. Near the back, I know Tanner Marty was involved. I don't think he was the actual cause of it. It'll be that car below the line, the 08, that starts a chain reaction.
And you know, Howie, I'm going to make the call. I think that's the first moderate one we have had so far tonight. Unfortunately, kind of similar shades to Alex Bowman having a kind of similar situation there. It was just, it wasn't a bad block. It was a bad bump there. And unfortunately, on the rejoin, yeah, that's any sort of rejoin heading into 3 and 4 at Talladega, even if it was Daytona, even if it was Atlanta, that's going to end in some kind of catastrophe. We all know that, and that's exactly what went down there.
That's a lot of cars wide further back, and I think every single one here might be slowing down the field collectively. This bottom line has formed, though, with Woods and Napier. But all eyes are on the top right now, and all eyes are on when someone chooses to make the move and chooses to block, I think. Officially 6 to go. And we're yellow in the back, and that's a fairly big one. Car sideways. Oh, there's some wrecked cars. That's William Owens, who is absolutely in multiple pieces. Jacob Simpson is also meatballed. Been a major player in this race. Oh.
And unfortunately, at the end, it's all going to fall apart. And huge hit there into the wall for the 30 of William Owens. And nothing that the 22 could have done there as that contact goes on in front. Look at that. There were 4 wide. Brian Von Henschel on the high side. And that was the contact with the 73 of Joseph McWhorter, pardon me. And there was a contact that just kicked it all off.
Marconi Entertainment here.
Some hot dogs in a taco shell.
Say it ain't so. We're watching from above for this race restart. Butterfield does choose to take the launch. He's got a teammate behind him, Bryson Hixenbaugh. Top lane's had a worse launch though. Mason Lowry's about a car's distance off the train. Hoytsma jumps in. Wants to give a push to Dyson, quite the big one. In fact, through the turn. Looking up on the back is Casey Graves in that orange car on the bottom. Butterfield still firmly in control. There's no run yet. There's no space for Hixenbaugh to make a move. Third lane is starting to form up near the top. It's really only the one car though. It's that 5 and he might be ducking back in. Sooner rather than later. Make it the white flag. We will finish the race with the next one. Has been remarkably tame race here at Talladega, but there's one more chance for these drivers to either impress us or let us down or do anything in between. It's a good run from Brandon Hastings. Still about half a car's gap here with Andrew Dyson. Dyson's going to give the biggest push he possibly can here. And it's going to give some good momentum to Hastings on the top side. A bad push though on Butterfield. That's going to kill his momentum. Still keeps it together. You often like to bet on the top side here at the end of a long race like this. Hastings just about ahead by now. To the top goes Hoytsma. It's pretty clearly going to be Brandon Hastings though. He ducks down to block. We're wrecking on further back. And Hastings wins it on the line.